It's a box of stuff for you. Why did you go in? Yeah, I gotta get that thing. Sorry.
Is it recording?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, good evening. It is 6:02 on Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. And I call the meeting of the DeKalb Township Board of Trustees to order. Clerk, will you please call roll?
Absolutely. Trustee King,
Present.
trustee McNutt. Yeah, here. Trustee Thurman.
Here.
Trustee Bradlow.
Here.
Supervisor House.
Here.
Also present is County Commissioner Craig's.
If we could all stand for the pledge, please. Clerk?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next on the agenda is approval of the agenda. And I would like to make a modification to the agenda. A couple of weeks ago, I had sent you all the proposal from the NIU Center for Governmental Studies for the Community Needs Assessment. And it was Tuesday early morning when I realized I had left that off of the agenda. So we can certainly discuss it tonight, but we will not be able to vote on it. So we'll just put that under new business. And then we'll have to bring it back next month. All right, public comments. No public's here, no presentations, so right into reports. Supervisors report, just a recap of things from the last month. There was a supervisors meeting in Rockford on the 14th of July. So I had an opportunity to network with some other supervisors and kind of some of the topics that we have heard at other supervisors meetings or the annual meeting in Springfield. We had the farmers market and the family fun fest on the 20th of July, both well attended. 26th of July was the ramp resource fair. 27th was the cemetery workshop at Queen of Heaven Cemetery in Hillside. If you've never been there, highly recommend it. The mausoleum there,
Phenomenal.
it is like going through a church, a funeral home, and an art museum all at the same time. All this marble, just absolutely stunning place to visit. So while it is an unusual place to visit, highly recommend it. Then at the end of the month, the human service funding applications were due on the 31st, and we received 17 applications this year for a total requested of 198,000. And we have 175,000 budgeted for the year, so we'll be making some decisions on how to distribute those funds. The Secretary of State office was here with their mobile unit on August 2nd, where we issued 27 driver's license, which included 19 real IDs, 9 state IDs, that 3 of those were real IDs. Every appointment spot that we had was taken, and then we had a wait list too. Very well received by the public, so we're going to do it again in January. We had individuals from other townships calling as well. So it, you know, I think that our increase in social media followers is certainly helping in distributing messages and getting the word out about different events. And then, you know, Kim does a phenomenal job with pushing it out through various through the media.
Did anyone on the wait list make it to the
Yes.
services?
Yes,
Everyone
because-
on the wait list?
Not everyone, but several of them, because people were considerate enough to call the morning of or the day before and say, oh, I'm not gonna be able to make it now.
Oh, that was nice.
And yeah, so that really was helpful. And calls that we made that day, you know, people were able to be here within, you know, under 15 minutes, so.
So are you doing it in January? Will you think expanding the hours or keep it the same?
It's really up to the Secretary of State. We were even able to fit in 2 guys from the assessor's office who needed to like make some changes to their driver's license. So yeah, it's a service that is well received by the community, so that's great. And then, we had 2 employment workshops, one at University Village and one at the library, just kind of testing the waters with those. The subject was, remote jobs, because we know that's an attractive topic. And then, Danita was able to cover more topics, but that's what drew them in. So we had a, pretty decent response to that. I think there was a dozen between the 2. And people are already calling and asking if we're gonna have another. So we are planning some of those for September. And then I don't know if you saw on social media, I can email you a picture, but I don't have one with me. Emmanuel Lutheran Church and Student Center, which I believe is your church. They had contacted, I made a connection with them at the June Farmers Market. And so they're part of Love Inc. And so we had a conversation about what Love Inc. does and what the township does. And about a week later, a woman by the name of Pat followed up with me and asked if we'd be interested in being their recipient for their Christmas in July or July drive, or I don't know what the technical term is. Have any idea? No. And so I had requested paper goods because when we were doing a collection for St. Vincent de Paul, a lot of the individuals who came in here for assistance asked if they could take items out of the box. So they had a tremendous response. And if you look at the picture on social media, you can see it a little bit better, but I bet they provided us with 24 boxes of Kleenex. I'm gonna say 200 rolls of toilet paper and maybe 50 paper towels, and then just some random things of napkins and paper plates and that. So we're gonna package those up so that people who come to us can get like, maybe a couple of rolls of paper towels, a few rolls of toilet paper and Kleenex, so that we're, helping meet a need while they're going through a difficult time and maybe don't have the funds to buy those things, because you can't buy those things with SNAP cards. So we brought it in here, and it was overflowing on those 2 tables, and so we put it away for now though. Yeah, that's all I have. Any questions about any of that? Okay. And I understand congratulations are in order for the highway commissioner, which you'll probably be talking.
Yeah, I don't know if congratulations or what I would,
Okay.
but
Do you-
thank you.
Do you have any
No report.
highway commissioner?
I'm sorry. I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Down the street, there's Illinois somebody, Sue.
Supervisor,
Okay.
Republican representative.
Okay,
senator.
I'm sorry.
okay, so
She just set up shop
Remote
recently.
office.
oh, okay, all right. I'm sorry, Craig,
That's
that's
it?
all, yeah.
So to lead on Mary, was in beginning of August, was in this Highway Commissioner Summer Seminar in Peoria for 3 days. Was nominated and unanimously voted to be the next president of that state organization. So I'd be the president starting January 1st.
Congratulations.
Yes, so I don't know why I don't say no to some things, but I don't. But that.
Did they give you a choice?
Not really, no. I did carry a letter of resignation and denial in my back pocket that whole week, but I never pulled it out, so it just means more more extra time for Craig, so.
Are you replacing the guy you introduced us to in Springfield last year?
Yes, Arnie.
Okay, oh, yeah, okay.
So, yes, I am the treasurer right now, and soon to be the president, and yes. And I don't know why, but so that, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I do want to pass out these are renders for the new sign out in front that I brought up. I know I was not here in July, and I will apologize for that. I had a little bit of a family medical issue that had to be dealt with, and I couldn't be away from the home for more than a few hours at a time. So there are two options on there. And I will apologize to the clerk because I don't think I've made enough copies for him. I might have
Wait, are these all
all
the
copies.
same?
Yes.
So what did I just give them?
Yeah, they look identical.
Mine are different.
They-
One's a arch. and-
Yeah, it's.
Oh, yeah.
So the top is just a little different on it. On the one, I prefer the second option than the first. Um. Is where we're at. The stone on the bottom is somewhat gonna mirror what is on the building now. This can be either two ways with significant differences in money. With the stone, if it's actually a stone and not a, what they call a faux stone.
Facade,
I'm sorry,
facade.
yeah, it's gonna be, if it's the faux stuff, it'll be in the $50,000 to $53,000 range. If it's real masonry, it'll be 70 to 80 range. So I'm leaning more towards the faux stuff, the one that the Park District has on Annie Glidden Road for River Heights Golf Course. There's also a faux. Then, I kind of put a cap when I met with him. And, at 60,000, so. He got within it. We have to work out the logistics. It is a. Where we can do it through a purchasing cooperative where they are tied to. So it would not have to go out for bid. Similar to what I've talked about with Sourcewell, buying equipment and stuff of that nature. They're a local or somewhat local company. They're out of Sandwich. They've done a lot of work, the Imboden sign, the one on Annie Glidden Road. For the Park District. Where the flag is, that will be a message board. We chose, there was different sizes. We chose to go to there's only one smaller. I think it's another foot smaller, but because of the busier traffic and the blockage from the tollway. In order to read it on your, with a shorter distance, I thought going just a little larger would work. And also, they also do canvas type stuff on the face of the building. I think above Mary's office kind of is our old logo in DeKalb Township. And he said that they do that as well. We'll take that down and replace it with the new logo. That is not part of that pricing, but I don't, I think we need to stick to one logo that way. So it's just an option. We have a lot to work through. And I would love to hear your remarks on it, or if you want to take some time with it until next month, that's fine too. That is it. My last thing while you're looking over that is, so we posted some on social media, my favorite thing to do in the whole world. The signs out on Annie Glidden Road, the electronic signs. I want to thank everybody in the community that has responded. Lots, some good, some not so good. All I will say is that there will never be an issue with them signs being there if you follow the law and the legal speed limit. Is I think the best way to approach that. So if anyone wants to see what we posted, it's right here. I only made one copy. You're more than welcome to pass that around. And that's it for me, I think.
Where is this gonna go with?
It'll go like right near the flagpole out here.
Oh, okay.
Because of the electrical easement and everything, I want to try and get it far enough where if there's vehicles parked, they can still read it. Because it'll only be 3 foot off the ground.
Right.
Yeah, I was just
but-
concerned about the standing water.
Yeah, and we can't go out in
Right.
that because that's at our land, so. And then, so about somewhere between the edge of where you park and the utility poles. I know there's a little bit of setback issue. And I really don't wanna have to move, I'm not gonna move light poles and I don't wanna move the flagpole, so. And if we have to go farther towards Manning to be able to get better visibility, I would rather do that than put it, and a lot will depend on the city of DeKalb. As to where their restrictions are on that sign, so. And there's other options too, if anyone can come up with any, I do want it in front of this portion of the building and not like farther towards the tollway or anything, so.
What would be an installation schedule on that now? How long?
Once it's approved, I think they can have it up by the first of the year if we choose to go that way.
Are there any price differences between these two?
No, I think, and the real reason why I went with the second one is if you go by Clinton Rosette, which you can't right now unless you want to turn around. Theirs has that arch top and I don't want it, much as I like that sign, I don't want to completely mirror it. And I don't. Of course, want to have. Is that right? Yeah. What is? I don't know, to be honest with you, so,
Either one looks good to me.
I don't know, I always think bigger is better. The second one looks a little bit bigger than like the kind of township logo at the top of it. You know, they'll be a little bit bigger. Good one. It's only a few inches, or 3 inches, it looks like.
and I think anything out here, I don't think that the sign on the face of the building. I don't think people find us that well, you know, I mean, I think it, unless you know we're here. I tell everyone we're across the street from Brad Manning Ford, but. You know, there's no way to see, I think, and for all the events that Mary hosts here. Early voting, and all those things, and even community events that could be posted on there. And of course, any of your birthdays, if you would like to have it that way or something, you know, so. Or how many years you've been here, so.
Who would manage the content that who would manage the content that gets sent to it?
I mean, it's just gonna have it, it's on a Wi-Fi thing, so it would, because I'm not here enough, so it'd probably be Karen, so anyone wants something on it. Would probably just have her put it on there, you know. And I'm open for anything, so.
I guess, just a logistic, would it be like a approval process for what goes on?
I mean, you know, as long as there's not 4-letter words that we shouldn't use and,
My name is
you
a
know, well. But yeah,
It looks, it's gonna be nice.
and even during the holidays and stuff, you know, and anytime we can fly the flag and. You know, Imboden's has their hours on it. I mean, I live right around the corner, so I see what Imboden's have been posting. Their hours, you know, their phone numbers.
So it's an app?
Stuff
Like,
like that. Yeah, I
is
think,
that
I
with an
think
app?
it is similar to an app. I know he said they would put something in the overhang in the front of the building. So I think that would tie to whatever computer we choose. And then it sends a wireless signal to the sign, so. I think the sign is made by Sony. And he said Dale, I should have had, you know, paid more attention. About pixels and all that, but he's like, this is realistically the best thing and the easiest one to maintain and repair.
Be nice. I assume it's double sided,
Yes.
So what?
double sided.
And that's 55.
50, yeah, between 50 and 50,000. And I think the message board, I know you can go up to. They were ridiculous, like 7.5 foot by 11 foot. You know, but I don't know, as if we need people in Waterman to build. I'm sorry,
Does the city regulate?
I think they
size?
do to a certain extent.
There used to be a big hubbub years ago or Kentucky Fried Chicken or something on.
I think, yeah, one on Wendy's when they were used to be out there.
And like, oh, the sign's too big, oh, the sign's too small.
Right.
Yeah, there was a sign police at that time,
Yeah,
community
code
member.
enforcement was out measuring stuff.
I don't know if that's still the case. They're gonna I told them to handle all of that. You know, it's easier for me if it's just hands off, you folks take care of it.
Right.
So
Looks good.
Be nice.
that's it for me.
Any questions? Assessors report, does he give you anything?
No, he didn't.
All right.
I mean, I can make something up if someone would like me.
Trustees report, trustee Bradley,
I report.
trustee King,
Mary told me the students that live in apartments are back. I know that they're coming back. I see Angela and nodding like they are back. I guess it's my neighbors are coming back. They're not back in the residence, so I told Mary I'm not ready for them yet until I complete my syllabus. And after I do my syllabus, then they can come back. It's almost that time. And I'm sure you all read the same thing about normal. I don't know what that's gonna be.
They're closing it and making it a roundabout.
Yeah,
Is it, so there'll be a roundabout in Lucinda?
I hate roundabouts. It's just-
I don't hate them, I just
Never out
want.
there, so that won't affect me in any way.
Yeah.
whatsoever.
It affected full on campus. I think, they said they're trying to create a quad, like, a quad, right next to the quad we already have, but.
Well, and more greenery,
Yeah, we're agreeing, yeah.
so.
It will automatically reduce speed, but isn't that a four-way stop now?
It is.
Traffic signal.
Yeah, the traffic's get on.
So now
Yeah,
I've been
there is.
out there, so.
And they put the speed bumps in on normal.
Yeah.
Those been there for years.
I'm just glad to know something's happening, cause that street has gotta be the worst right about
Oh, it's
now.
bad.
It is, yeah, I just thought the other day, like, what is happening?
You gotta drive, if you're coming south, you gotta go all
Oh, yeah,
the northbound lanes to get over and then,
yeah, it's wicked,
otherwise you bottom out,
yeah.
not even on the speed bump.
The same on Hillcrest, but they keep going.
That's all I have.
Trustee McNabb,
No report.
trustee Thurman,
Yeah, at the university, actually, you just put in and install a large video screen. I believe it's the largest screen in DeKalb County right now. It's 30 feet tall, about 20-some feet tall. It's in Barcena Hall, 4K. It looks spectacular. And so we had to hand over, we actually have a sign off on it on Friday. So I get the sign off that says that it costs the university about $240,000.
It's not something I can work into my budget.
It's pretty neat.
It really, I think it's gonna help the students a lot. It makes a statement. A lot of universities are moving to that type of model, and it's gonna just really liven up the place that needed a little bit of a refresher.
is it only used for the School of Business?
Right now, it's in the auditorium, so it will be primarily for the College of Business, but I believe they're gonna hold more events there. And there's gonna be a kickoff event there in a couple of weeks, and I think they may even invite people from the community, but I'm not quite sure. But it's pretty interesting. It went remarkably well. We signed off 2-3 weeks ahead of schedule, so, and that's rare that stuff like that happens. And the same guys who built the frame for the Sphere in Vegas are the ones who built the frame there. So I'm like, if they can build a frame for a Sphere, let's get them here to put our small.
I remember the big shot on top of that building
Uh,
5 years ago, so
So
I won't do it again, but
So it's on the stage, it's where
the stage, yeah, it is.
Like the backdrop.
This is probably not the.
Pretty exciting stuff for you, Dale.
I know.
yeah, he's like, yeah.
I have a picture of it.
When do we get a tour?
I know, I got more pictures of the video wall than my kids now, but I don't know if you could see that, but it's 4K and it takes up pretty much the entire stage.
It looks like a projector.
It is, and the cool thing about it, the advantage of a projector is, I'm trying to move away from dim projectors. When you dim the lights so that people can see it projected, puts half the class asleep. With this on, you never have to dim the lights, and even though it's about $240,000, it was gonna cost us about $190,000 to replace 3 projectors, which is older technology. I said, hey, let's go a little bit more money and we get a better ROI on it. And it went
have the Sunday ticket.
and that's all the guys were joking. We said we gotta watch the first football game and see here. And it's really nice. It's like it came out better than what we expected. Even the guys, the company that came out to build it, they said, did you videotape it? We had a time-lapse video of it and they're gonna use it for promotions and hopefully it'll help the university too. It'll be free advertisement for the university to be on those people's pages.
Oh, yeah. Very cool.
And so now I can return to normal life. Now that was a big project for me.
Anything else?
That's it. Students-
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Students come back soon.
Yes, they do.
All right, moving on to bill paying then. We have the July audit report and August bills to pay. Can I get a motion to approve the July audit report in the amount of $425,203.04? And the August bills to pay in the amount of $206,287.10.
That's so moved.
Second. Discussion?
I have a question.
Yes,
Mikowski, Rogers, Blood, and McCardle.
that's the township attorney, that's Brad's firm.
Oh, okay.
And I do want to point out the number for July is exceptionally high of $363,000. That's about 300,000 higher than what it normally is. And that's because of the transfer of funds that we had to account for. So because of the two capital funds, I did the transfer in July. So out of the general town fund, 200,000 was transferred to the building capital. And 100,000 was transferred to cemetery capital. So that's captured in this, and that's why it's significantly higher than normal. So any other discussion, any questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Bradlow,
Yes.
trustee Thurman,
Yes.
trustee McNutt,
Yes.
trustee King,
Aye.
supervisor Hess.
Yes.
5 ayes and 0 nays, the motion passes.
Next, can I get a motion to receive, file, and approve the treasurer's July budget report?
I will.
Second.
Discussion? There's one other thing I wanted to point out in here. If you go to page 15, that's the general assistance budget, April through July of 2023. So that's just this fiscal year. So if you go down to the bottom under commodities, you'll see emergency assistance and flat grant. I just want to point out where our numbers were last year at this time versus where they are now. So last year, at this time, we had given out $11,201 for emergency assistance. This year, we're already at 27,000. I think that's a reflection of the economy, the recession, people struggling more, and people becoming more aware of township services. And then for the flat grant, which is the the general assistance, which is individuals who receive a grant each month while they're waiting either to become employed or to get approved for SSI or Social Security disability. You'll see that that's at 21,000 already. At this time last year was 13,600. So our numbers are significantly higher. We have been discussing this in our general assistance meetings and trying to kind of problem solve how we make sure that we have enough money to last the whole fiscal year. And so for like utility assistance now, we are when individuals come to us for if they're behind on their utilities, you know, during the winter when their heat's being disconnected, that, you know, truly is an emergency. Air conditioning, you know, that's debatable. If there's not a medical reason why a person needs that, then, you know, it doesn't truly constitute an emergency. So we're really encouraging them to work with ComEd and get set up on payment plans and, you know, try to access some other resources just so we have funds to last us throughout the year. The flat grant general assistance, we have 60,000 budgeted for that. We have to have money in for general assistance. That's a state requirement. So if we get close to reaching that 60,000, we'll have to transfer some money from somewhere into that line item. Emergency assistance, we can let that dry up if we end up using it all. So that's why we're just trying to be a little more conservative now, but certainly a big increase in expenditures there
So typically, is there an increase in emergency assistance in the winter time or?
You know, it's really not, there's no consistency to it. I ran the numbers and there's, the majority, I would say 75% of the payments we've made, if not a little bit higher, have been for shelter assistance, utility assistance. There haven't been all that many,
There's a lot of other resources for it too.
right?
Is
But
there a way we can increase the budget? Like we can't this year, right? But could we for,
no, we could
we could.
amend it. And another thing that we talked about, so to help the funds last is, so for a single individual, if they qualify, they're eligible for up to $995. And that's based on the cost of living in DeKalb County. Combined shelter assistance and utility assistance. So what some other townships do is they have different rates. So if you're coming to us for shelter assistance, maybe you get that $995. But if you're coming to us for utility assistance, maybe we reduce that by 50%. Because what we're seeing is people are coming to us with, 3 months of missed utility payments. And so, maybe they need to come to us a little bit sooner.
And you can only get those once a year, right? Still.
Yes, emergency assistance is once a year.
And we increased it this fiscal year, right?
Yeah.
Increase
The amount we
No.
give.
that an individual can receive.
Right.
That was in 2021.
So I don't remember if you mentioned or not, but is it like a sliding scale, like based off of how much they need?
So, we pay whatever the need is.
Oh, okay.
So if a person only needs, is behind $500, then that's all they're gonna receive. If they're behind $1,500 and they qualify for $995, they're gonna have to pay that $1,500
Yeah.
down to $995 in order to. So we are putting, responsibility on their behalf. We are getting a lot of landlords that are referring people to us, so. And, rightfully so. So, yeah, I just wanted to make you aware that,
Business is good.
Yeah. So are the numbers up or just the amount of money, the number of people?
the number of people is up as well. And, next month I'll run some reports so you can see, and I can do, past years.
Yeah, that'd be good, because you wanna make sure we anticipate the needs, if that's gonna be the trend
Right.
going forward.
So
That's
if,
the helpful thing about prior years,
Mhm.
so you get a chance to see.
but what's interesting is that there's not a year that we can really compare to because, well, when COVID was happening, there was money coming from other sources. And then prior to that, we had the general and emergency assistance amounts were the same. So when we were only giving out $320 for emergency assistance and one time and people had, $1,000 bill, which means they had to come up with $700. Not too many people were qualifying for emergency assistance. So it's kind of all new.
Can you also give us a list of like ways we can increase the budget if we need to?
Well, there's really,
Or we just move it?
what I would need to do is start preparing for that now if we want to amend the budget, because we have to do a hearing, which, is posted 30 days before the meeting. Our other alternative is we can transfer 10% out of one line item into another. And I don't know, do you know, if we can do that month after month, or that's
I
once a
think
year?
you can, I think you can only do it once per line item and it's 10%
Oh, once
of,
per line item?
yes, 10% of what you budgeted for it, not what you received. So that,
Right, so
because that sounds larger, you can all,
$6,000.
right,
But we can only transfer in once?
from each other line item.
you can transfer as many of the other line items as you'd like into that line item.
Oh, into that.
But, you know, so if you have 14 line items that you're way over on or way under spending. The only other thing that comes to mind for me would be is if the town fund has excessive money. Excessive is the wrong word, but you can have a special meeting of the electors or in an annual meeting, you can transfer from fund to fund. Town fund to general assistance fund. I don't, to my knowledge, you cannot ever transfer money out of general.
You cannot.
So,
There was one, you could do that in like 2000.
I mean, I can lend money to, I mean, we can also transfer like my special bridge fund
Yeah.
to that
No,
for 1 year and pay it back. You know, I mean, there's all
Yeah.
kinds of options.
Has the population in the township increased over last year?
According to the
Yeah,
census,
that's
no.
Went the other way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, even with a shrinking population, the.
Well, look at your own utility bill, how much was it increased,
And the change, I mean, income has not kept up with inflation.
right?
And with everything else increasing around, I mean, if you have a car vehicle, you pay more for gas, pay more for eggs
Right,
and everything
right.
else, that's reducing together for your utilities.
And if you did a rent comparisons from 2000 to now, they've gone up significantly.
It's like double.
Is it really?
That's what we've got.
People are paying like $1,600 a month for a 3-bedroom house.
Well, if you, my daughter's looking for an apartment in Naperville, Lyle area, and that's what you pay for a
Yeah.
1 bedroom apartment.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably way more out there.
For an apartment?
1 bedroom apartment, 1,400.
I don't know, it's the Peace Road.
So, yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on that and I'll keep you, next month I'll come back with those reports so you can kind of see how things have tracked over the years. So any questions about that or anything else with the July budget reports? In that case, roll call, please.
Trustee Thurman,
Yes,
trustee Bradwell.
Yeah.
Trustee King,
Aye.
Aye.
supervisor Hess.
Yes.
5 ayes. Isn't it fun? 5 ayes, 0 nays.
H, unfinished business, the resolution, just
Just gotta get it back and I'll sign it.
copy I gave you.
I need the original of the IGA, cause that's a road district document. And the resolution, yeah,
Okay, the resolution signed, so.
yeah, I
just
can
want the
sign
one
that.
out of the board book. Okay,
We can, tomorrow's not good for me, tomorrow's Thursday, Friday morning, Friday, yeah, I don't know if you'll be around Friday.
well, we could do it right after the meeting. It's right there.
I am not gonna stick around after you make
Okay.
your decisions.
Oh, that's right. All right, we'll get that done. And then, item I, new business. So let's go with the minutes of the July meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the regular Board of Trustees meeting, July 12th, 2023?
A motion.
a second.
Discussion?
I wasn't here.
All right, roll call, or no, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Abstains?
Sorry.
Good now.
Getting there. That's-
Okay.
Cookie's helping.
Well, my blessings, man, I hope that gets better. And I pray you, so your daughter comes through.
There actually was one thing that I wanted to address. If you go under page 44, new business.
Okay.
It's a, last month we had a discussion about a toy grant from Adventure Works. The library was the month before.
Got it.
And then we changed the application for the COI grant?
No,
Remember
remember
that-
that, yeah,
Okay. There's a mistake on the COI grant. It's kind of obvious, but
the amount
yeah,
of dollars. Yeah, let's look at the website now. I feel like they pulled up an old Koi grant. I believe it's correct on the website.
Well, it wasn't, I think when we saw it,
750.
Yeah,
yeah.
Couple of the ones we saw said 500.
okay, and then we have.
Take care.
Other new business, so, I added to the agenda the NIU Center for Governmental Studies, the proposal to conduct a community needs assessment. I didn't hear back from anyone, so.
I replied, didn't I?
Well, yes, you heard, I didn't hear back any questions, is what I should say.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have taken more time to look at it, if you have any questions, it does, when I met with, Mindy, you know, she was rattling off all of these townships that they've worked with and they've done these community needs assessments, and so they have already formulated a lot of questions that, you know, other townships have used. We can, we will obviously pick which questions we want. And I really like the idea of first we do the survey and then do some focus groups after that. Because I think some of the feedback from the surveys can help dictate questions we ask in focus groups. So, you know, I think it's a starting point to kind of give us a roadmap on where we go with services. You know, the ones that we've been doing have been pretty well received, and quite honestly, we go on to other townships' websites and Facebook pages and see what kind of events they're holding. And then determine if that seems like something this community would respond to. And we've had pretty good luck with that approach, but this will definitely be a little more strategic.
About how often do you think we'd have to do something like this?
Having never done it before, I don't know.
Because, you know, like I said, even like with the emergency assistance, like the needs have changed, how often will we have to reassess?
Right.
Because it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't seem to also seem like that much, but if we have to do it every 6 months or, you know,
No.
I don't think we would, but.
I mean, strategic plans are generally about 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
So I'm thinking that this would kind of, because you have to, I think you have to do it once and then you determine if, or for event wise, when you're hosting an event, you know, post it once and then you learn from that experience and, you know, maybe tweak some things, adjust some things. And then do it a second time and you're getting feedback both those times and, so I think it would take some time to implement what we've learned from the community needs assessment. And I think it would be helpful before the next meeting if I reached out to some of these townships that have worked with NIU to do a community needs assessment and find out their level of satisfaction, maybe what they would have done differently, how they then utilize that feedback from the community to give us a little more big picture idea of where we go with this information.
Yeah. We can get a money back guarantee.
What about that group? I don't know their full name, the Midwest something, Eric had us connected to them. Chad, do you know who I'm talking about? Not that did this, but they worked with, I think, several townships. And so they may be a group to talk to. There may have been a group that you talked to, well, I don't know who you talked to about the DEI training, but this is called, I can't think of the name of it. I know Eric and some of his buddies kind of had a, I think there were several townships. I want to say the Midwest something. You're not familiar with any groups of townships?
The only two I know are TOI and Metro Township Association.
Is it Metro?
And I know that a lot of the townships that are referenced in this proposal our
I
townships
thought some
along
of
the
the,
metro.
some of the the township. So as you're, when you say survey, you're talking about the people in town.
Township residents.
Yeah, maybe it might be nice to survey other townships too. To see what it is that they're doing. Cause how will we know? I mean, we can't check everybody's Facebook, I mean, unless you got that kind of time. But you certainly could send out a survey.
Well, yeah, and there's an event every fall, the Metro Township Association has a one-day workshop. And so the townships that are part of that association, you know, we kind of network and talk about those things, but maybe I can ask Metro to do that in advance of that workshop, so we can all learn from it.
Well, except if we're paying these people, I don't know why that wouldn't be a part of.
We would have to pay them more to do that. This is just for the community needs assessment. If we asked them to survey other townships, I can't imagine they wouldn't charge us extra for that.
Well, I'm just thinking, will we know how to survey other townships?
I guess it's more, from my perspective, I'd like to find out what the residents here want done. That's what this is for.
Right, I get that, this is what I'm thinking, what I'm thinking is as a resident, if you ask me what I wanted. And I had no idea what the options were, that's not necessarily the best information that I think that you could get. Because I don't really know what the choices are, right? It's like if I go to eat and they say, what do you want? You got a menu? I mean, what are my choices? What am I working with? So if I know what maybe other townships are doing, maybe those are some things that I could suggest or offer or ask
So
residents.
when
what they think.
when I talked with Mindy, that's when she, you know, explained to me that they've worked with multiple other townships in the state. And so that if we decide we're gonna do this, she already has several questions from the multiple surveys she's done with other townships that does capture some of that, you know, like it identifies services they offered.
It's not just an open-ended question.
Right.
It gives
Right.
guidance and choices.
Yes, and so in a way, they do have some of that information. And then we also have to keep it in the parameters of what the township code says we can do. So
I wouldn't suggest that we go outside the code, let's be clear, I'm just thinking that in order for us to get probably the best response in terms of what we're doing, it would be helpful to look at other townships. And offer residents some of the options or ideas.
Right, and I
so that
do
they
believe
could
that she has that information.
From there.
I'll know more after she lets me see what the questions are. But I don't think I get to see those until we sign a proposal, because it's material they own.
Okay. Well, and I'll just say, when I did the thing, what was it? An assessment, a mental health assessment. With Dan, you know about that. The feedback that we got and the way that they did it was great. And we did do some focus groups from community members to see, hey, you know, what are you looking for? What do you think? Cause we acknowledge we don't know it all, right? And we acknowledge that sometimes you have to bring other voices to the table to see what people bring to the table that we don't know.
Right.
That's all I'm suggesting.
Yeah, I hope that it's comprehensive enough that they can.
Well, and if you ask the Metro, did you say the Metro group? And maybe I'll reach out to Eric to ask him if that's the group. I don't know. I just think if we ask whatever body connects townships, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think between that and the information CGS has already, that we can have a nice.
Yeah, the best,
package.
you know, the best possible. Wow, 1,100 per focus group.
That's one, but how many focus groups would they have?
What are they doing that we can't do?
I think the expertise and what they can bring, the experience of doing a focus group, I think that's pretty inexpensive, not the same.
Hey, we did it for nothing.
It is.
Yeah, and we got some feedback,
It, I don't remember, I wanna say she said 4 focus groups.
Okay.
Maybe that's why it's 4 weeks. If they have one.
Yeah, so the vote is 44.
yeah,
So that roughly $17,000 then. Oh, it doesn't seem absorbent for the amount of work they have put into it, and I'm sure they have more resources than what we have, and sometimes it's like, it's good to get extra eyes on it, I don't know. I mean, it's worth, for my personal opinion, it may be worth trying once, because experts, they discover stuff that you would not have to discover, even thought of, and that they routinely do it.
I'll just say this, we did some focus groups and
We as in the township.
the mental health advisory board, I don't think it cost us this, and I think they looked at all of the information and they kind of put it together for us,
Who's that?
these people here.
Oh, the same people.
I think is it the governmental studies? I can look at it, I don't know right off the top of my head. But it didn't cost us that, and I'm not against paying the money, I just don't know, you know. But the other thing is the mental health advisory board, they have money for snacks and all that kind of stuff, so they did some encouraging, comfortable kinds of behaviors that I think helped to accommodate
Yeah,
the people that were part of the focus group.
yeah, I like Mary's suggestion that you reach out to some people that they work with and just say, was it worth, what value did it add to your organization, and was it worth the money? That's the biggest thing. And my sister actually, she probably worked with my sister at the Oak Park Library, and I can always call my sister and just ask her how it went.
Okay.
And cause that's one of my sister's role at the Oak Park Library, stuff like that.
Okay, well, and I think it will also be interesting, considering they've worked with so many townships, is that they can come back, or, what their experience is in the more suburban townships of, all kinds of people utilize their services because there's more services offered. Versus here, are we gonna get people going, what does the township do? So, the residents' familiarity with township services, I think they'll be able to gauge how well our residents know what we provide. So we can't vote on this tonight, but I did want to have the discussion, so I will reach out to some of the other organizations that have worked with the CGS and get some feedback.
Would it be helpful for I don't know, of course, as a group to have them come in and talk to us at the townships?
Have CGS come and
Yeah.
talk? I could see if they'll come in next month.
And then I'll hopefully they can put some of the concerns to rest.
Mhm.
And if we could see, maybe even, I don't know how appropriate it would be for them to share a report that they did for another organization.
Well, I had asked her about that because she mentioned like they worked with the United Way. They worked with the Opportunity DeKalb that studies university or the North Annie Glidden. And I said, can those be accessed by anyone? Because I don't want to ask questions that have others already asked and answered. I want this to be new information, or how can knowing, what the United Way found out, how can we use that in our planning for planning purposes?
And if we pay for this report, how can we share this with the city or the police department or someone else and say, hey, we recognize a need for services that we can't provide, but it may fall within your wheelhouse.
Right.
And then at that point, maybe we should share the cost with another group that could benefit from it too. I don't know. Just the option, not saying.
I don't know who that would be, but.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, we'd like to help pay for it.
Yes. So yeah, I will invite them to come present next month and
And this is part of the whole decennial.
this will be a component of it. We'll be able to present this at probably the third meeting.
Yeah.
Cause it won't be done in time to present at the November meeting.
Yeah, I was thinking, that's what I was remembering. I think that guy, I don't remember his name. He's like, you don't need to do it. So.
Any other comments, questions on it? All right. So I am going to make a motion that we adjourn public session and move into executive session in order to discuss past executive session meeting minutes for approval and or release per 5 ILCS 120/2 C21.
Motion.
Well, I made the motion, so,
I'll second.
okay. All right, so in that case, we are adjourned for public
We need
session.
to vote on that and so.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Trustee King,
Aye.
trustee Bradlow,
Yes.
trustee Thurman,
yes.
trustee McNutt,
Aye.
supervisor Hess.
Yes.
5 ayes and 0 nays, the motion passes and we enter into executive session.